As I was going through the Common Yoga series, I realized that it is important to note that the presence of a yoga in a chart does not automatically mean it will manifest its full potential in your life. There are hundreds of yogas, and every chart will have some of them. After you identify a yoga, common doubts that arise are: why is this yoga not working in my life? Is this yoga strong? Is it rare? When will I see the results of this yoga? You may also see yogas that predict contradicting results. How do you make sense of all this? In this video, I will cover the main parameters used to evaluate a yoga. In following videos, I will provide more details on each of the parameters with actual examples. The first and most obvious one in evaluating the strength of a yoga is looking at the strength of its constituent grahas that form the yoga. For example, in the case of Chandramangala Yoga, a wealth yoga that is already covered in the Wealth Yoga series, the constituent grahas are Chandra, the moon, and Mangala, Mars. For desirable yogas, the constituent grahas should be strong. This can be from strengths like exaltation, own house, retrogression, or strengths from supporting grahas like flanking or aspects from natural benefics. For undesirable yogas, the weaker the constituent grahas, the worse the effects. Weakness can be from debilitation, combustion, or aspects from natural malefics. For example, in the case of Kemadruma Yoga that we just covered, a debilitated moon would make matters much worse. Next, the strength of the Lagnesh or the Lord of the Lagna is critical for most yogas. While yogas represent opportunities, the strength of the Lagnesh determines whether you can take advantage of the opportunities presented. A strong Lagnesh can also help persevere through undesirable yogas. Looking at the chart from all three Sudarshan Lagnas is also very important. The three Lagna points when considering Sudarshan Lagna are the ascendant called the Udaya Lagna, from the moon called the Chandra Lagna, and from the sun called the Surya Lagna. A yoga repeating from two of these Lagnas is better than one that repeats only from one, and a yoga repeating from all three is the best. Position and strength are two different concepts in Vedic astrology. A strong Dhanala yoga in the first house of self may mean wealth through entrepreneurship, while a strong Dhana yoga in the eighth house could mean wealth from inheritance. Location of the yoga determines how the results of the yoga shows up in your life. It is, however, good to have confluence of the yoga meaning and the bhava meaning the yoga is placed in. For example, Buddha Aditya Yoga, a yoga indicating intelligence, is more desirable in the fifth house of intelligence. Every chart will have multiple yogas, some desirable and some undesirable. You may have yogas that support the same results or yogas that indicate opposing results. This is the concept of confluence and contrast. Confluence indicates multiple yogas with the same results, like Dhana Yoga, Chandra Mangala Yoga, and Lakshmi Yoga, all pointing towards wealth. While in contrast, you could have yogas like the Dhana Yoga and the Daridra Yoga, one pointing towards wealth and one pointing towards poverty. Vedic astrology has the unique concept of divisional charts. These charts are mathematical derivations from the birth chart. These divisional charts focus on specific areas of one's life, like D10 for career and D24 for education. Yogas that repeat from the relevant divisional charts imply further confluence for the particular yoga. For example, a Buddhaditya yoga meant for intelligence repeating in the D24 chart of intelligence is desirable. The rarity of the yoga is also important to consider. Buddhaditya yoga occurs in one third of all charts because Mercury can only be in the same house as the Sun or in the two houses on either side of the Sun. However, not every third person you meet is a genius. Therefore, for common yogas, the factors mentioned before should be much stronger than for a much rarer yoga. Let's say, after evaluating all the factors mentioned so far, we conclude that we have a very strong dhana or wealth yoga formed by Venus and Sun. When will this yoga manifest? The answer to this question lies in the Vimshottari Dasha and Bhukti timeline. If life started in the moon Mahadasha, the native would never run Sun's Dasha, and Venus's Dasha would come in their 90s. Such a native will see glimmers of the Dhana Yoga during the Bhuktis of Venus and Sun, but would not benefit from the 20-year Venus Mahadasha. To conclude, evaluating yogas and their impact in one's life is much more complicated than just identifying the presence of such yogas in a chart. Thanks for watching this video. I will upload more videos to further explain these factors in the coming weeks and months.